own sort of Kickstarter thing. It wasn't a Kickstarter thing, but it was a Twitter Storms. Last year, were you guys involved in Twitter Storms at all? Did you have any vision of that at all? Last year, for April Fools, instead of playing The Room on Toonami like they had done in the past, they did an April Fool's joke. And they played a full night of Toonami with all of the old shows, Dragon Ball Z and a lot of the old things, using Tom 3 or 3.5 or whatever it was called at the time. But we basically put new words in his mouth and we set it up as though the show had never ended. We had the original Sarah on there and we just did it as kind of a gift to the fans. And for no money, it was just a sort of last minute thing. And the response was overwhelming. They went from 200,000 viewers at that hour to 1.5 million in that night. And so the fans were saying, well, is it coming back or not? This is a cruel joke, because childhood, what are you doing? And so I said, well, you know, if you guys really want it to come back on the air, you have to let Cartoon Network know. And start writing in, start tweeting, Facebook, whatever you gotta do, just let them know that you want it back on. And so I joined in on these Twitter storms. I stayed up all night that night and learned how to use Twitter for the first time. And I'm an old guy, so that was really hard for me. But people just in droves showed up, and tens of thousands of people just started barraging their websites. We shut down their website at one point. And so finally Cartoon Network went, oh, fine, all right, we'll do it. We'll do it, but you have no money to work with, so you're on your own. So all the guys at Adult Swim basically worked on their own dime after hours to put Toonami back together. The animators and the editors and the writers and the producers all did this in their own time. And they asked me if I would help them out. I jumped on board and they said, well, will you work for like almost nothing? And I said, yeah, let's do it, let's get it back on the air. And they did, and so in America, it's now become a hit again. The show is doing tremendous numbers. We're trending on Twitter every night worldwide, every Saturday night on Twitter worldwide. And we're hoping that they'll pick it up internationally too. So you guys would have to contact your local version of Cartoon Network here. I guess there's a Cartoon Network here, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So to get it back on the air here, you would have to contact them, and they would have to work out a licensing deal to get that happening again. But we're producing them; they're happening every Saturday night. We're doing the inspirational speeches and the video game reviews, all the good stuff that we used to do.
Yeah,
So
it's just that I watch it with my girlfriend on video chat all the time every Saturday night.
Oh,
well,
nice.
actually, be on Sunday morning over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, technically it's Sunday morning anyway. We start at midnight.
I know. 5 a.m. and all.
Yeah, but it's great. It's really great to be back, and I'm thrilled to be back. We have a brand new Sarah too, who's one of the ladies that works in the office there.
Yeah, she told me about her, yeah.
Yes, she's amazing. She's really great.
Well, she also said that she's happy that you're back in Toonami.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, very happy to be back. I hope it comes here soon.
So, thanks.
Thank you.
Would you ever return for Vegas XLR?
In a heartbeat.
Nice! I love that show. I miss my green chicks.
That was one of the best shows I ever worked on. I had so much fun working on that. And I got to work with Wendy Lee again, who was my Fei on Cowboy Bebop. And it was such a great homage to the anime community. The guys who put it together are huge fans of anime, and now they're producing a ton of other really great shows. But yeah, that show just couldn't seem to find its audience back then. They didn't know what to do with it. So they are trying to get it back on the air. The guys they're working now at a company called Titmouse, who does Metalocalypse and a bunch of really great shows. And I'm still very close with them. We keep in touch all the time. And so if there's a way to get it back on the air, we will.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, sometimes there's politics involved, or there's rights. Yeah, there's legal issues with it too, and they just have to get those released, and if they can, then we can do it.
Hi Steve, big fan. I actually didn't know you were coming to this convention until the day before yesterday, so it was quite a thrill to spot you coming up.
Fantastic.
I've been a big fan of the work for the last 10 years or so, like since you did Medieval 2. Lord Eirtakon, and that was a very interesting character. But I was wondering, since you did games then, since you're doing them now, has there been a big improvement in doing the voice over work? Like, is it a lot easier since when you started, like the technology and so on?
No. It's actually, in some ways, it's more challenging now. The games have gotten more sophisticated, so I think the acting actually has to be better. And we still have to do 600 lines in a 4-hour session for video games in some cases. So we have to kind of step up our game all the time. And there's a lot of new actors coming in who are very, very good. So for old guys like me to be competitive, I have to constantly be researching and working very, very hard. So I've always considered myself to be like a blue-collar worker in the industry anyway, because I'm not celebrity status as I know celebrities to be, where I can go in and make my own deal. I still have to audition like everybody else. In fact, when I finish tonight, I'm going to go back to my room and audition in my little portable rig that I bring from home. So it hasn't really gotten easier from an acting perspective, but I think what has gotten easier is the interaction with the fans and their acceptance of us as community members, I think, because I think early on in games, voice acting wasn't as big a part of it, and it was more of an annoyance than anything else. And now it's become kind of an integral thing in the games. I think it becomes part of your immersive experience if you have a good voice acting performance in it. And so that's what we strive to do. We just strive to take ourselves out of it and pull you into it. And if we can do that, that's the goal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi Steve, big fan. What is the role that you've either most wanted to do but hasn't come up yet, or that you've auditioned for and haven't got?
That's so hard to answer.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I get this question a lot, and it's a really tough one for me to answer, only because I've landed so many roles I wasn't expecting to. My career has been so unexpected, and I'm so grateful for everyone that does happen that I don't think about the ones that don't. And I audition so much. Part of the process for me is to actually let it go as soon as I do the audition, so I don't stress on it, I don't obsess on it, I don't think about it after the fact. The only thing that, and I've said this before, the only character that I think I would probably be right for would be Batman, just because he's right in my vocal wheelhouse. I think it would just be an easy transition for me to do Batman. I was Lego Batman. I was the first Lego Batman who was nonverbal, and so he was like, ooh. But for me to work on Batman, that satisfied that. As a fanboy, that was good enough. I was good with that. So if I never got to play Batman again, I'd be okay. And then Kevin Conroy, I hear his version of it, and I hear Kevin Michael Richardson and now Roger Craig Smith in Arkham Origins doing his version of Batman. There's so many guys that do it so well that I really don't have anything to add. I don't think as an actor I can make it any better than it is. It would just be for my own gratification at this point. And that's not reason enough for me to take a role away from somebody else. So I wouldn't even consider doing it even if I had that ability. So yeah, I'm not too into that. The only other thing that I would say is that every once in a while, and it's always when I plan a foreign trip, when I'm going to another country, I always book something that I can't do back home because I'm leaving. And so just before, I was actually getting on the plane to come here, and I heard that I got this callback for the role of Mr. Potato Head for this commercial. I was thinking, oh, that would be awesome. And then they said, well, you're not going to be in town? Okay, well, we'll give it to somebody else. Oh, man. So I go through 30-second, oh, man, and then I let it go, and I know that whoever does book that role is going to be one of my friends, and they're going to do an amazing job. And so I just wish them well, and that's how I get through that stuff. So, yeah, the trick as an actor for all of you aspiring actors here is not to obsess about what you don't have. It's just be grateful for what you do.
Thank you, and thanks for Spike.
Thank you.
Honestly,
Hey.
big fan.
Thanks.
Just the past few days, I've been playing nothing but Lego superheroes, and so of course Wolverine has popped in, and I was just like,
Nice.
"Oh, it's So I was quite happy. What I wanted to ask you was Ritlock Brimstone. Second I heard the voice, knew was perfect.
Great, thanks.
And I'm just wondering, is there any future Ritlock information coming along? Can you share that, or?
For anything that's happening in the future, potentially or no, I'm not allowed to speak about it because we sign non-disclosure agreements. They're very definitive legal documents that
Especially with ANET.
would mean that I would just eviscerate right in front of you if I spoke of it. They plant a chip and that's it. Yeah, so I couldn't speak even if I knew.
Alright.
I hope so, that's all I'll say. Yeah, I love working on that, it was really fun.
Yeah, so you enjoyed Ritlock Brimstone. Would he be one of your favourite characters along with Spike and Whoever else?
Yeah, Ridlock he was a different kind of